Hello, and welcome back for your daily dose of LOL Esports content, where I'm going to cover a bit of news and then the LPL and LCK games from today and tomorrow. So, we have in this little box here some news. Rare Adam let Shine go, or at least he became inactive today, and I have to assume it was before the series against RNG. Shine, on that DRX coaching staff that won Worlds a couple of years ago, otherwise really didn't have a lot of head coaching experience. And he wasn't a head coach on that team because Song was. And Deceit has taken over as the head coach of Rare Adam. I have to assume that, like I said, that he was the coach today. No head coaching experience at the top level. Had been JDG's LDL coach for a bit of time prior to this. He wasn't actually even listed on the official, well, I wouldn't say official because he was probably in the GCD. But Leaguepedia didn't even accredit him as a coach up until this point, at least on his own tournament results. It didn't have this split listed. So now he is a part of Rare Adam for LPL 2024. And then EDG Monkey is going to start tomorrow. Monkey has not played more than 3 games since 2022. I definitely, when I thought of this, I thought of Sheer with JDG. And JDG even had a player in mid lane, maybe XQ. No, it wasn't XQW. LZQ, something like that. Like they had a player in mid lane that really didn't get a lot of experience last year, and they gave him a series or a game or whatever towards the end. But when I thought of that, I thought of Sheer, and a player that isn't getting any stage time right now and is just subbing in scrims, I guess. And then we have Monkey, who has been a sub on EDG's roster for some time now. On Leaguepedia, he's not accredited with any stats for this year yet. In 2022, in 107 games, he had a 4.5 KDA, 5.4 CS per minute, 70.2 KP, 353 gold per minute, which is about 18.5% of gold, 336 damage per minute, and 12 champions played. So a player that's had a lot of hype around them for over a year now, but hasn't done anything since 2022 for the most part. Now, predictions went 2 and 3 on the day. First, we have Thunder Talk Ultra Prime. 1XN went 12, 5, 20. It's probably supposed to say 31% of damage. UCal 7, 4, and 26 in the mid lane. UCai 8, 7, and 13, 29% of damage and the loss. All 3 games, Thunder Talk had a lead at the end of laning phase. Game 1, 16-30. They had a 2K lead, 18 CS for UCal over UCai. Hacker up 14. Doggo on the Callista strong in the early game. The bot duo of Doggo and Zhui giving bot prio to secure the first 2 Drakes. Hoya on the Aatrox. He had 1 bright spot in Game 1. Game 1 otherwise was atrocious. I think he went like 0-5 and whatever. But key team fight at 3rd Drake. He led in damage to stop the soul stacking. 1XN on Lucian would be able to control the mid game, but then UCai on the Azir took over, and Hacker on the Maokai, obviously utilizing his ulti very well and securing the win with it. Game 2, 13:45, end of laning phase. Thunder Talk blowing him out by about 4K. 26 CS lead for Hoya, 19 for UCal. Beshwan on the Xin Zhao all over the place, getting them ahead. And then Chow Chow on the Heimer, dealing significant damage and making a big difference. Not only in getting that prio in bot lane naturally in the 2v2, but also controlling the game with his turrets and things of that nature. And Chow Chow ends up being MVP, actually, because in Game 3, laning phase would end before 13 minutes. And what did I have here? What? Oh, Renata. Couldn't make up my handwriting. I thought it was Renata. 3K gold lead, 38 CS lead for 1XN Chow Chow in bot, 18 CS lead for Hacker. Decade and Hoya would exchange solo kills in the Aatrox K'Sante matchup. UCai on the Azir would then control mid game. 1XN on the Callista responding. Hacker on the Graves, also dealing significant damage for Ultra Prime. But Chow Chow on the Renata, very timely ultis. Looked very good in team fights. Went from Heimer to Renata and once again controlled the game. Was very significant in the win. Thunder Talk, like I said, ahead in all three games at the end of laning phase. So game one they kind of tossed away, but games 2 and 3 up, 4K gold by 14 minutes at the latest is diffy. RNG Rare Adam. Rare Adam win 2-1. Vikla 14-6-24, 28% of damage. He probably deserves MVP. Zhaozhu 12-6-24. If it's not Vikla, it's him. And then LWX 14-11-11, 26% of damage and loss. Game one. Actually, all three games. So I changed my gold diffy situation at the end of laning phase. If it's under 500 gold, I'm going to say they're tied. So in all three games, they're essentially tied. Game 1, 11-minute laning phase, 25 CS lead for Nayu over Wei, as Nayu was given 3 carry-oriented picks in this one. 37 CS lead for LWX Ming into Asum and Zora. Now Nayu on the Graves, very strong in Game 1, getting out to that lead. Asum on the Senna as team fight started to ensue. He continued to have 100% KP for quite a while, or damn near close to it, and Zora on the Ornn. A lot of setup, allowing Zhaozhu, Vikla, and Nayu to secure some kills. One of the better support Ornn performances we've seen. This, honestly, there haven't been many this year, but in general, I thought it was pretty damn good. Better than some top laners. Game 2 laning phase was short again, about 11 minutes. 17 CS lead for Zhaozhu into Breathe. The bot duo of RNG up 50 CS. So LWX Ming definitely got the better of Asum and Zora in this series. Vikla on the Talia, strong, securing kills, getting around the rift, making things happen. Nice Weaver walls. LWX on Callista was very good as well. I think he even actually stole an objective as Callista. Nayu on the Viego. Effective. Taking bodies, obviously taking souls and doing some work. Now, in the late game, though, Wei on the Lee Sin would not be denied. Looking like Wei of old, like the way we expect him to be. And then Ming on the Renata. Very good alties. A nice handshake in the final team fight to win Game 2. Game 3, 14-minute laning phase. 13 CS lead for Vikla on the Nico. He would solo kill Tangwan's Akali twice in laning phase. But Breathe on the Zac would not be denied. He impacted the early to mid game. Tangwan on the Akali would recover, and I think we do deserve to. He deserves credit for doing that and recovering, and actually putting RNG in a good position in a game that honestly didn't have much going on. Honestly, this entire series really didn't have much going on, especially out of RNG in terms of making things happen. Zhaozhu on the K'Sante, a solo kill. And then Nayu on the Kindred. Nice alties. Keeping everybody alive, of course. Getting kills, had stacked some marks. And, it was essentially the Zhaozhu show at that point, but Nayu was doing some good things too. And I think he deserves some credit maybe for MVP as well. Any of those three young players in the top side of Rare Adam's Rift. Looking very good with the new coach in Deceit. Then we have BLG JDG. BLG win 2-1. Elk 17-7-16, 32% of damage on 3-8-33. So the bot duo went 20, 15, and 49. This was a very close series. Game 3 going down to the wire. Ruler was definitely the best player in the series in general. Going 25-7 and 11, 35% of damage in the loss. I predicted JDG to win. I thought that the bot duo was going to be the difference, and it almost was, so I'll take that. Game 1, close laning phase at about 13:30. BLG ahead slightly. 16 CS lead for Flandre. Flandre on a TF, so that makes sense. 11 CS lead for Yagao in mid. Now, that wouldn't make a difference, though, because Knight on the Talia was effective. He made things happen. And that's what you need from a guy playing a facilitator. And then when team fights started taking place, seismic shoves were on point. The Weaver walls were there and present. Elk on the Caitlyn started securing some kills. I've been using secure a lot today, but frankly, that was what was occurring. And it was those two kind of carrying everything. Of Of course, they're set up by Shun or set up by On and things of that nature. But it was essentially the Knight and Elk show in game one. Game two, BLG are up about 1K gold at 12:30. They were ahead in all three games in terms of gold. 21 CS lead for Bin. I think you can make a case for him being MVP of this series. He had a solo kill on the Kesante into Flandre, who played Twisted Fate again. Ruler on the Lucian would respond very strongly and would win this game essentially himself. Yagao on the Talia, nice setup, similar to how Knight had played in the game prior. Knight on Wei did put up a fight, in the final team fights, but Ruler was like, not today. We are going to win today. Kanavi, very good as well. Something to note, though, Bin did get ahead of Flandre, but they did go to the top side 3 times, so that will help. Honestly, actually, looking at this, between all 3 games, Shun or whoever, Knight on the Talia, went topside 6 times to help Bin into Flandre, so maybe that's why Bin looks so good today. Where Kanavi only went up there once and really didn't get as much done as Shun in terms of making plays. Now, in game 1, he did get a couple grub spawns, but in terms of getting teammates ahead, wasn't really there. Game 3, 16 minutes, 25 CS lead for Bin on the Darius, who was disgusting in the early game alongside Shun on the Xin Zhao. It's kind of crazy that they threw that lead they had in the early game. 25 CS lead for Ruler on the Kesa. Once team fights began in the mid game, it was like Ruler and Yagao were just racking up kills. Kanavi, very nice setup. And it was like, oh, shoot, they might actually win this. And even Flandre finding ways to be impactful. But Knight on the Karma responded himself, got a solo kill in this one. Kanavi on Lee Sin said, that's fine. I'm going to have he had one of the best kicks we've seen in quite a while in this game. I think he might have even kicked Elk back in to his team. Then Elk on the Tristana, though, in the late game team fight, started stacking some kills, getting gold. And despite Ruler having double digits in kills, he might have even had more than a dozen in this game individually. Elk was just outdoing him in the final team fights. There was one, though, I will say, that JDG lost, and Ruler still had like 11k damage, which was significantly more than Elk or Bin, who both had about 4,500 each in that team fight that they would pull out and win. LCK T1 KT, T1 win 2-0. Gumayushi 9-0-15, 29% of damage. Zeus 8-1-11. I think you can make a case for pretty much anybody being MVP. KT looked like hot garbage in this one. Deft 3-8-3, 28% of damage in the loss. So game 1, 15-45, 1.6k gold lead for T1, but it felt over. So, gold was close in terms of CS, well, not gold, but CS was close. But once team fights started, Carry on the Nautilus had nice knockups with his ulti, nice hooks. And then Zeus on the Aatrox, once he became unleashed, we've seen it time and time again. Zeus on the Aatrox can be very, very strong. And Faker on the Corki, decent package placement. Gumayushi also looking good. So KT, not much going for themselves. Game 2, 4k gold lead for T1 at 19-15 when the first turret fell. And honestly, it should have been over sooner than that. Guma on the Smolder, putting up a solo kill. Owner on the Vi had 3 of the first 4 kills for T1, which is probably why the game stalled out so much. It's not like the gold was on a carry, it was on the Vi, and then he would dive in and he would just die. I guess that rhymes. So 24 CS lead for Perfect in game 2 on Zeus, which is nice to see, but a 19 CS lead for Faker into PDD. Zeus on the Kesante, strong once team fights began once again. So maybe, if it was closer in game 2, I would maybe make Zeus MVP because team fights he was massive, but Carry was strong too in game 2. So I think he was on an Alistar, if I recall. So pretty simple 2-0 out of T1, pretty typical. Genji Fear X, this was not as typical. Genji win 2-0. Pays was MVP. I think he may have had the first penta on Smolder. 9-4, 17, 36% of damage. It's not a maybe about the penta. It's maybe if it was the first one. In 4 major regions, by the way. I don't want to hear about what happened in whatever other, 4 major regions at the top level. Canyon 9-2-14, Closer 3-6-10, 31% of damage in the loss. So actually, game 1, Genji were only up to like 700 gold, 20 CS lead for Keen. He would solo kill Clear twice, Keen on the Kesante, Clear on a Poppy. 22 CS lead for the bot duo, but 23 CS lead for Nocturne, Willer's Nocturne. And Willer looked good in this series. He returned to form. He plays better against the elite junglers, and it's kind of weird because when he plays against what you'd consider to be junglers that are worse than him, he kind of struggles. I think it's probably because he watches so much of the best junglers that he kind of can predict what they're doing, but maybe doesn't spend it's very speculative, but maybe doesn't spend as much time watching the lesser known junglers. It doesn't make much sense, does it? Let's see here. What else do we have? Willer on the Nocturne, a couple early kills. Chovy on the Asol. So when team fights began, Willer would obviously turn the lights out, and then Asol would come down and deal a shit ton of damage. And as the game went longer, he just dealt more damage. And that was like, team fight over. Because Henna looked pretty good in this series. Doesn't lead in damage, but honestly, Henna was probably their best player outright. And then Pays on Smolder gets the penta to clean it up. Game 2, 2k gold lead for Genji at 16 minutes. 20 CS lead in bot, 16 in mid. 17 CS lead for Willer again. So once again, he's ahead of Canyon, and honestly, he was getting kills again early. But Canyon on the Lee Sin, Canyon's an elite Lee Sin, right? So before the end of the game, he made sure to make a difference. In the final team fight, he actually had a triple. But this game was back and forth. Fear X were not going down lightly. Henna on the Varus, getting around team fights, dealing quite a bit of damage, securing kills. Chovy on the Azir, though, so the final team fight, he has a massive divide where he's able to bring in multiple Fear X players into Canyon and Pays, and they eliminate them, and they win the game. But Game 2 was on a knife's edge. It could have went either way with the way that Henna was playing for Fear X. Sneak peek for tomorrow, LPL, EDG, Anyone's Legend. EDG 0-7, lost to Nip. Anyone's Legend 5-2, beat Thundertalk. Last time they played, EDG won 2-0. Only one of those 10 starters are starting tomorrow. Ale is back in the lineup, going 4-2-12, 20% in the win. Weibo, OMG, Weibo 4-2, beat Ultra Prime. OMG 3-4, beat Rare Atom. Last time they played, OMG would win 2-1. Half the starters are the same. Abel and PP God 15-8-37, 45% of damage in the win. Light and Crisp 11-6-27, 43% of damage in the loss. Lastly, Nip and LNG. Nip 6-1, beat EDG. LNG 2-5, lost to Top Esports. Last time they played, LNG won 2-0. 6 of the 10 starters are the same. Gala and Hung 19-7-41 with 42% of damage in the win. Photic and Zhuo 8-18-12, 42% of damage in the loss. Then we have LCK, DK and DRX. DK 4-5. Last played Fear X and 1. DRX 1-8. Lost to Genji. When they played last week, DK won 2-0. Showmaker 9-0-17, 38% of damage. Saytab 0-11-5, 22% of damage in the loss. Then KDF and Bro, and no, that's not a mistake. They end the round robin, and they're going to play each other again. So they play each other twice in the same week. I feel like that's a blunder, but it's schedule. So the Freaks 5-4, Bro 1-8 when they played a couple days ago. Breon won 2-1. Envy went 24-5-11, 37% of damage. Bull 8-9-17, 27% of damage in the loss. So that's it for your daily dose. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.